we're often asked, what's the ROI on brand? I don't know if anyone here has ever been asked that. I'd be curious. And we work a lot with technology companies and technology brands, and that's a key question that people come to us with. And my honest answer is, if that's what you're looking for as a return, as an incremental 10%, 20%, you're actually not asking enough of brand. It should be a multiplier. It should make your employees stickier. It should make your recruitment of it faster. You should need less middle management because decisions are clear. And I want to talk to you today about a brand that used creativity and courage to create that multiplier effect. So creativity and courage, and what do those have to do with creating a multiplier effect? Creativity, I think we often talk about the output of creativity. Is it splashy? Is it big? Is it beautiful? Does it move people? And that's such an important part of it, and we get to some beautiful design work here in a minute. But creativity really starts inside. And it doesn't start inside your customers, it starts inside of you, inside of leadership. And that leadership finding what connects them to their purpose. Why are they here? Why are they creating a company? Why am I showing up at work every day? And then having that courage to be able to draw on that and then say, I'm going to risk it and go out and be vulnerable and share that with the world. And so our story really starts with a group of people, because today it's my belief a lot of corporate leaders are disconnected. And I'm not saying they're disconnected from their customers or their market or their investors. They can be disconnected from themselves. And this is a group of people who knew who they are and who operate from vision and from values. So I'll never forget the day I met Jim Alcove. We took a call with him. He said, I want to create a brand, and here are my values. Boom, 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 boom. He listed them right out of the gate. And he said, I want to create a brand. I need you to name our company, but I know that you're creating more than just a name. I know this has to be my culture. This has to be the entire company that I'm building. Brand is everything. And it's so rare to meet someone who's starting a company who has that courage to say that. And Jagadish and Shana have those same core beliefs and are running the company today from that place. And we're so honored to have you, Shana, here today with us.
Thanks so much, Sam. So I'm Shana Glenzer, head of marketing for a cybersecurity company that is reimagining identity security. So we really help chief information security officers and their teams answer the question, who has access to what? How did they get that? And what are they doing with it? Which is essential when you think about the fact that over 80% of cyber attacks are identity related. And so we embarked upon the brand journey from the start, before we wrote a single line of code. Because we knew, and Sam really reinforced that it was foundational to bringing the company to life, that the brand was going to impact our culture and our vision and our employee experience and really be that baseline for customer trust that was going to help us to build and scale this company quickly. We have grand visions of where we're headed, but we knew that the brand was foundational to help us get there quickly.
So where do we start when we are embarking on creating a brand? And the place we start is we ask ourselves and our clients and their customers, what is the sort of emotional truth that's driving you? What matters most to you? And in this space, for many people, that's the emotion is defensiveness or fear, and for good reason, right? Jim Alcove, who is the chief trust officer at Salesforce, he knew this well, and he would say this on our first conversation. He said, data breaches are home invasions, and most people kind of treat them almost like fender benders. I think over the last year, the events from CrowdStrike, we all kind of sort of realize how devastating a data breach can be. But when you attach your brand to this emotion of fear defensiveness. It kind of pulls you down into this closed-in space, even literally underground, like you're in a bunker, right? It leads you to what it's protecting you from, but it doesn't lead you to what security is leading you to, what you get from a solid security. And you look around in the category, you can kind of see this play out in names, in color choices, in logos, imagery here. You have CrowdStrike, very aggressive language, black and a lot of dark colors. Forge rock, things just that sound tough and strong, which is great, right? But it also keeps you in that space. Okta and Drata, these kind of invented word names that feel very mechanical and just hard sounding, right? So it's leading you to what you're protected from, but not to what you get. What do you do now that as a company that you have security? So how do we move away from this direction in this space?
Yeah.
And it led us to an interesting metaphor.
And when I look at that competitive set, remember when I said corporate leaders are disconnected from themselves? I think, wow, are all those people connected to fear? What else are they connected to that's actually going to move me, right? And so much of the security space is about, my reaction to needing to be secure is I'm scared. I need protection. And every brand in that space is just kind of talking about being scared. And so we saw an opportunity, and this was a lightning bolt moment in a very early meeting. We said, well, why do cars have brakes? They don't have them just to stop. The Flintstones could stop with their feet, right? Because they didn't need to go that fast. You have brakes to go faster. You can't go 120 miles an hour if you don't have brakes. So why do companies really have security? It's so they can collaborate with people around the world, so that they can hand out data and then get it back or stop access to it when it's no longer needed. They have security so they can be free, so they can move around. That's the positive benefit. Fear is a reaction. Freedom is the end goal. And that's what we ended up basing the whole brand on: the vision, the culture, the product, and the identity.
So if freedom is our mission, and that's what we want to, we're setting companies free, where do we start when we're thinking of creating a name first and then a full brand and identity? What does freedom look like? How do we describe it? What does it feel like? How do we embody it? And so where that led us was, well, it's probably more organic than it is technical. So maybe we could explore some organic metaphors, imagery, flowers, right? They kind of grow freely in all directions. They're delicate, sure, but so is your data, and we protect that. So that's kind of an interesting idea. Transparent, we're transparent. You can see through it, literally, and we're honest, right? So are there images associated with transparency? Or musicality, it flows, it kind of goes, music goes everywhere, right? And it flows smoothly. Probably brighter colors as opposed to darker colors. It feels, freedom feels more brighter and more vibrant. And so this led us to interesting naming territories, and that we ended up landing on the name here. Dramatic pause here while computer. There we go. Oleria. Oleria, it's a real word, probably not recognizable unless you're a scientist who studies biology, but it's a type of butterfly. It's a picture of one right there, a butterfly with clear wings. And it was just a very fascinating creature, but it served as a great storytelling platform of a butterfly, right? It can fly freely, it moves freely, it kind of has like that whimsical flight pattern, but it can still travel far distances across continents, right? It's got the clear wings, so you have the transparency idea there. Very delicate, again, like your data, but we protect that. And there's of course the cocoon idea as well. We didn't quite lean so much into that because it's not just about the cocoon and shielding, it's what the beautiful, flying creature that emerges from the cocoon. And again, that inspired beyond the name, which itself is, it flows. There's actually no hard consonants in that at all. Mostly vowels with the L and the R being liquid. So it flows, it rolls off the tongue. It's got open syllables to it like a song, like music. So you have the vowel consonant pattern. It's just easy to say, right? And it inspired other directions in the logo and the color palette.
That's right.
And the messaging.
The movement of that logo really capturing that, a butterfly moves like a helicopter. I'm going to go over here and I go over here. It's total freedom. And I just wanted to call out, having a concept like freedom doesn't prevent you from saying adaptive, automated, autonomous security. You can ladder things down and up. But we don't have to talk about fear and product attributes. The brand can stand for so much more.
Yeah, and this big idea of freedom is still just fundamental to everything that we do. It's fundamental to how we talk to our audience, how we, how we are enabling business agility and not, focusing on locking down, locking in. And so it continues to really drive us in everything that we do every day.
And so what are those ingredients to using creativity and courage for growth hacking, right? To get to that multiplier. The first thing is brave clients, right? That's the very first thing. And we couldn't be more grateful to the Oleria team who embody that notion of embracing a vision and values and carrying it through every part of their organization. That shared understanding of brand at the heart of an organization, and I think a tight strategy. Everything is about freedom. Everything's paying off. It's not one note. It's a full set of chords, but it's all coming back to a single concept and a single idea that's emotional. It's not, we didn't say, autonomous security. That's our big idea. Right? That wouldn't be enough. That wouldn't really capture an audience and give that freedom to pull people in. And it's certainly distinct in the category. Put it next to just about anyone out there in tech, much less in security and the zero trust space. And it's extremely distinct and unique.
My name's Brian Rapp. I'm with Country Max Stores, which is an upstate retailer. And I'm wondering, what other paths you pursued? It seems like you landed on the right answer, but was it the only answer?
Our strategy got us to freedom really early. It was clear in the category that there's a whole world of benefits that the category was ignoring. And so once we landed on that idea, which was pretty pointed, so more like a funnel into the strategy, from there we did explore a lot of different concepts for the identity. I think Eric started, Orchid was one of them.
We had kind of three territories that we were really pursuing. One was the idea of living vibrance, this idea organic, imagery, floral, animal, those kinds of ideas, things that were alive. One direction was to at least explore more protective things, but in a different way. One metaphor actually that we used, rather than like a shield, protective like a parent. It's sort of a different way of thinking about protection that's sort of more interior, maybe not so aggressive. And then the third direction was this direction around hope of being a leader for the future. We did an interesting exercise in our initial conversations of if you could hire anyone to be your spokesperson, who would it be? And it was a combination of a few characters: Barack Obama, Mark Benioff, and Satya. And so kind of bringing those qualities together into a kind of cool, collected, confident leader, that was one territory for naming. And then we landed on this living vibrance was really what resonated the most, talked the most about freedom, and set us apart and set us on the trajectory for a beautiful identity.
Great question.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I'm keen to know what kind of feedback has there been from it sort of post the launch?
What kind of
feedback?
Oh,
Tell me a bit
yeah,
about
actually, Shana, do you
well,
want to address that?
I can tell you something. When we go to, so from individual conversations with leaders, chief security officers, we get comments in almost every meeting about our visual identity in particular. Like, wow, you guys it's really different. Not what I'm expecting. And so that's, pleasant surprise to them. It kind of perks them up, like, what is this all about, you know? It's an opening, it's an entry, which is great. And then think about going to these massive, like, cybersecurity conferences. We are certainly kind of stand out in that realm, and we get a lot of, like, attention in that way as well. I think it helps, again, our CEO is, really embraces this, you know, from the start. He is a personality that embraces freedom and the positivity that comes from secure practices. And so I think that helps as well. His personality really is part of the brand, which is great. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Hi, my name's Alfie Boyle. I'm here with Conran Design Group. You mentioned at the very beginning how it's been core to your employer brand, but being so different in the technology space, can you just speak to how it's been valuable in that respect?
A couple of things. I think the values were were so intrinsically tied as well to the brand work that it brought the values forward in our company culture and tied them to this idea of our bigger brand narrative. So the values, I think, trust being one of the first ones, but freedom really helped the employees embrace those values a little bit more, just because it felt so intrinsically tied to the brand and the visual identity. I think the other thing is, it's in a world of sameness in cybersecurity and fear. You want to be the person that you're at the company where you're like, no, we're about freedom. We're gonna build this big, big, terrific, play across security, and we're doing it differently. And it ignites kind of an excitement to be different.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add.
I mean, I'll just add on. I think very early on, launched at RSA last year, and shortly thereafter, maybe had about 20 employees, hadn't opened the India office yet. And we were brought in to do a training. That's right. It was recorded, it's shared, and it starts with the values and with the strategy. And so that is actually a core part of onboarding as well. And it's still it's a growing company, so I imagine that'll get more complex over time. But it helps to have it be the seed of the organization and not something that's having to kind of be laid over. It really has truth to it.
Absolutely, and just to give you a sense, we're a Series A company. We've got a long way to go, but we're excited. So we was 0 employees when they started the work. It was the co-founders, right? And that was 2 years ago. We are now, was 20 employees when I started in March, and we're now up to a little over 50 employees. So it was good to have it from the start, but we've got a long way to go, and we're excited to bring people on the journey.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much. A round of applause